My name is Caroline Ashton, and this is my persuasive speech. These are my friends Jacob and Brendan, and my parents. These are my cards. It is likely that we either have or know someone who has conditions such like insomnia, PTSD, anxiety, depression, or epilepsy. People who have these conditions typically spend lots of time at the doctor or online in order to search for remedies that can help. Unfortunately, a lot of common remedies do not help and even have terrible side effects that are worse than the condition itself. Fortunately, there's a medication out there that can really help people that are struggling with those conditions. In my speech, I will be telling you about the numerous benefits of medicinal marijuana, some background on the drug, and some common misconceptions. Medicinal marijuana has numerous benefits that more and more people are realizing. Cannabis can really help prevent and treat conditions such as glaucoma, epilepsy, de Vries syndrome, anxiety, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, arthritis, depression, Crohn's disease, schizophrenia, Parkinson's, lupus, PTSD, and cancer, just to name a few. The conditions that I have listed above are just a few of the conditions that cannabis can really help treat. According to Medical Daily, the munchies have been used to stimulate an appetite in HIV and AIDS patients that had poor appetite due to their condition and treatment. Cannabis can also really help patients who are struggling with hepatitis C. Treatment can be very difficult and be filled with a lot of side effects that are horrible and even cause people to quit the treatment. However, 86% of patients who smoked marijuana finished those treatments, whereas only 29% of patients who did not smoke marijuana finished their treatment. Medicinal marijuana also increased the efficiency of the treatment. According to Business Insider, cannabis may help reverse the carcinogenic effects of tobacco and improve your lung health. Yes, you heard that right. Cannabis can improve lung health. Not only does it not weaken your functions of your lungs, but it can also expand your lungs' capacity, according to a study done by the Journal of the American Medical Association. A study done by Emory University found that people would have to smoke a joint every day for 20 years before any sort of regression was found in the lungs. Medicinal marijuana can also really help people who have brain and mind conditions. Cannabis can protect injuries caused by a stroke or a TBI by reducing bruising and swelling. It can also really help patients who have insomnia and chronic nightmares. Chronic nightmares caused by PTSD or other sources can really help by smoking marijuana and breaking up the REM cycle. During the REM cycle, this is when your deep sleep and dreaming happens. If that is broken up, no dreams occur. Medical marijuana can also really help patients who have insomnia. There are 3 strains of marijuana: sativa, indica, and a hybrid. Sativa is one where your brain is stimulated, but your body is still very relaxed. This is ideal for social interactions throughout the day because it does not cause your brain to go into an indica high. An indica is one that can really help insomnia patients. It is the classic high that people think of with a group of people laughing and relaxing and sitting on a couch and eating a bag of Doritos. This can really help people to unwind and fall asleep easier. Even after copious amounts of evidence that medical marijuana is very beneficial, the DEA still refuses to nationally legalize medical cannabis. You may be asking yourself why. Well, that is in the history of cannabis itself. Cannabis has a very extensive and complex history. Cannabis was first found in Central Asia around 12,000 BC and spread to the rest of the world thousands of years later. It reached North America in the early 1900s. At the beginning of the 20th century, there was a large increase of Mexican immigration to America following the Mexican Revolution. At the time, cannabis was very popular in American medicines. However, people had never heard of the word marijuana, and they were terrified that Mexican immigrants had brought over a dangerous drug, and they started to fear Mexican immigrants themselves. The drug policy says that the demonization of the cannabis plant was an extension of the demonization of the Mexican immigrant. As the prohibition ended, Harry Anslinger, the head of the Department of Prohibition, was pressed to find for another substance to ban, or he would lose his job. Thus, marijuana became illegal. Anslinger found false and selective information that could help himself prove that cannabis was unsafe and should become illegal. He listed false effects and honed in on a case of a young boy who killed his family with an axe, supposedly under the influence of cannabis. Huffington Post said that he wrote to the top 30 leading scientists on this subject, asking if cannabis was dangerous and if there should be a ban. 29 wrote back and said no. However, Anslinger focused on that one person who said yes. Anslinger also forced other countries to fear and ban cannabis, even against their wishes. In the case of the young boy killing his family, it was later revealed that no cannabis had been involved in the murders. Before Anslinger was pressed to ban something, he did not believe that marijuana was a very bad substance, and even said that it was absurd for people to believe that cannabis led people to become violent. Cannabis is still very illegal in most of the United States, but there are many states who are fighting for it to become legalized. Before cannabis was legal in Colorado, there was a young man named Mason Vert who challenged John Hickenlooper, the mayor at the time, to a challenge. Vert wanted Hickenlooper to bring alcohol to their duel. Every time that Hickenlooper would take a drink, Vert would take a hit off of a joint. "We'll see who dies first," Vert said. Vert later became the leader of the campaign that led to marijuana becoming legal in Colorado. As of November of 2016, it is legal in 29 states to smoke marijuana, whether solely for medicinal purposes or both medicinal and recreational. The District of Columbia is also legalizing marijuana. I have hoped that by learning the benefits and history of marijuana, that most people here would understand and support the legalization of the medical use. However, there are still questions and concerns about the drug. Many people believe that it is a gateway drug. Well, yes and no. It is true that many people who abuse hard drugs still use cannabis or once have in the past, but it is safe to assume that most of the people who are using marijuana either recreationally or medicinally will not be shooting themselves with heroin or crystal meth. People also believe that it kills brain cells. This is completely false. Medical marijuana actually enhances brain activity and productivity, in turn making new brain cells grow. People also think that it is just a way for lazy college kids to smoke recreationally. Well, sure, there are always going to be people that abuse medical drugs for recreational purposes, but that does not mean that we should take away the drug for the numerous people that need it just because some people abuse it. We wouldn't take away pain meds just because some people are using them recreationally. Other people think that marijuana kills people. There has never been a death linked to smoking cannabis, ever. In fact, pharmaceutical drugs are a higher cause of death. The Medical Marijuana Association says that recent studies have shown that in states that allow the use of medical cannabis, there has even been a drop in the number of deaths caused by pharmaceutical drugs. Other people say that you can become addicted, and maybe, but chances are no. The Medical Marijuana Association says that although marijuana is addictive in about 9% of users, for the vast majority of users, its use will not become addictive. Medical marijuana is a natural and useful drug that helps an astounding number of people. Nonetheless, there are still people that are fighting the evidence that proves its healing properties. This could be that people are too afraid to let go of what they heard the DARE people say in elementary school. Whatever the reason, there's a large movement in recent years to remove the ban and allow for the amazing healing powers. I hope that by hearing the overview of the amounts of medicinal marijuana benefits, the background on the drug, and the common misconceptions challenged, You will think twice when you are asked about your beliefs about medical marijuana.
That's pretty interesting stuff that I've never heard before.